Hi, this is Marnie Swedberg, and I welcome you to another Be Live. We are here today with speaker Tanya Jolliffe of Westchester, Ohio. Tanya, welcome to you.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Well, excited to pick your brain today. You have actually written a book called The Mindful Me Journey. It's a 40-day guided journal. Tell us who you had in mind when you were writing that, and then we're going to dig into your topic about it and share some stuff here.
Well, I was doing some work and do some work with a ministry called Living in Truth Ministries. And it does a lot of work with women with body image issues. And it really connected with me. I'm a registered dietitian, and people had said, but we don't know what to do. If we're not supposed to follow a meal plan, what are we supposed to do? And God just said, write down your experiences, put it into this book. And so that's really where it came from. And I had my own kind of battles with disordered eating in the past. And so it just kind of came out of that. But the truths are very powerful for anybody, whether they're a chronic dieter or whether they have disordered eating. We're in a society of chronic dieters. And so that's kind of where it came out of, to be the best we can be for the purposes God made us to be.
Absolutely. And I really love approaches that let you live fully where you are right now on the way to where you want to be.
Correct. That's exactly right.
Yeah,
That's exactly
so cool. Right. So there's actually 4 aspects of this. So let's dive in first to the phases. Tell us a little bit about phases.
Well, it's like an onion, right? You have to unpeel layer by layer by layer. And so people, as a dietitian, people always, I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to lose 20 pounds. Well, you lose 20 pounds by losing the first 5. And then the things that you put in place then help you lose the next 5. And then you're halfway there. And so it's the same way with this. If you can't just say, I'm going to give up chronic dieting. I'm going to become attuned to who I am and how I eat. You have to peel back those layers, and you have to kind of take it step by step. And you have to start by figuring out what you're doing and why you're doing it, and then go a little deeper and figure out how you can take that and apply that to the next step. And then build in guardrails, and then build in new practices that make you healthy at the size that you are, not the size that someone else is. And that's kind of where we are very much caught up in a society, an Instagram society of looking at other people and saying, oh, I want to be that. Well, that's not who God made you to be. You need to be who God made you to be, and for the purpose He put you here to do.
Amen. Yeah, so really good.
That's where this kind of the foundation of it really is.
The phases. And then and then you have what you call prompts.
Well, the whole 40 days is nothing but open-ended prompts that help people then to begin to discover and look at, what am I doing and why am I doing it? And that what and why is very grounded in emotions and feelings. And we put those emotions and feelings together. When we talk about emotions and feelings, we talk about them together, but they're separate. They're not together. Emotions are that fight, flight, freeze kind of response that we feel physically. Feelings are those things that the evil one wants to manipulate in our mind. And we don't know why we're feeling them, but we're feeling them. Mindfulness and attunedness is getting back in touch with, what am I feeling and why am I feeling it? And when food is related, a lot of times it comes back to childhood. It comes back to feelings we had. One of the examples I like to give is, think about family meals or meal time in general when you were a child or a teen. For some people, that's a happy memory. For me, that's some of the best memories I have. We gathered around table with family, my whole family. My mother made us a hot breakfast every morning before we went to school. And I didn't realize what a gift that was until I got to college. And my friends were like, what? So mealtime has always been a very, very happy time for me. But for other people, it's a sad time if they ate by themselves because they were a latchkey child, or because their family had drama or trauma in some form. And so that gets carried on. If you're sad, and that's how you relate food, when you're sad, you turn to food. Sometimes when you're happy, you think about food and you center everything around food because you're happy. And so those things, you have to unpeel those layers, and you have to go back to the thoughts and emotions. What am I eating? Why am I eating it? And how does that relate back to the emotions that I'm feeling?
Yeah. One of the best things I ever learned was that feelings just are. Feelings aren't right or wrong. They're
Yep.
like almost like a gas gauge on your car. It's just telling you what it is. It's just
Right.
telling you how it is. And so there's no reason to feel guilty or upset about a feeling that comes. It's just going to show you, oh, I need to have some more work here, or I need some healing here, or this is a healthy feeling.
Right. And to
Right.
understand, why am I feeling? What does it go back to? Does it go
Right.
back to hurt? Does it go
Yeah.
back to fear? Does it go back to loneliness, sadness? Does it go back?
Yeah.
Where does it go to? And where does it originate? And when you
Yeah.
can start to peel those layers back and find out where it originates, especially in relationship to food, you can start to make changes
Yeah.
and you can start to become healthy, because
Yeah.
ultimately our body is a temple, right? The scriptures
Right.
tell us that our body is a temple and that we are to
Right.
treat it with love and respect, to be all that we were created to be. Well, if we're feeding it with junk and we're stuffing our feelings and we're not using and processing those feelings, then that matters.
Yeah, cool. The next one is development.
Development is guardrails. I talked about that loneliness or that happiness. And so if you take that a step further, um, my grandmother was a widow and she did not like to eat by herself. And so someone could sit at home and choose not to eat because they don't want to eat by themselves or because they're lonely. She chose to put a guardrail in place, which was to gather a group of women that they would call the wacky widows. And they would meet every day at 5 o'clock. And it was a standing appointment
Oh,
at a set restaurant that they would meet at 5 o'clock. And sometimes it was 3 ladies, sometimes it was 6 ladies. It just depended on whose schedules. And
oh,
sometimes when I couldn't make it home when I was in high school, when I couldn't make it home to my own family meal, I would stop and eat with the wacky widows and have dinner with them. And so that's a
creative.
guardrail that
Huh.
she put in place that said, okay, I know that eating by myself is lonely and I don't want to do
Ah,
that. So I'm going to create a way for me to
wow.
eat with someone else.
Yeah.
Um, if I'm somebody who is a binge eater and I just eat out of the bag and I just don't pay any attention to how much I've eaten, then a guardrail for me would be to take it out of the bag, put it on a plate, and put the
Mm,
bag away. And so it's
mm,
beginning to develop those guardrails and those things that get me off track, that make me do what I don't want to do. Scriptures say, we do what we
yeah.
don't want to do. So how can I begin to build that guardrail and put those things in
Yeah.
place? And it's those phases and those prompts that help us develop those guardrails.
Yeah. Beautiful. The last one is change.
Change is that, we go from where we are to where we want to be, right? We
Yeah.
go there
Yeah.
step by step by step. And to be an attuned eater or to be a mindful eater is to get back in touch with those innate things that we were made with. Babies know when they're hungry and they know when they're full and they communicate that. But over the years of chronic dieting and just using
Mm,
food in different ways, we've lost touch with those feelings of fullness and those feelings of satiety and those feelings of hunger. And we eat because of a clock, or we finish the plate because we grew up in a clean plate family and we don't want to waste food. And so we don't put guardrails in place, like making a smaller portion size or splitting out the restaurant meal and getting the box to go. So it's just putting those things to make
mm,
lasting change, where we're focusing on nourishing our bodies to be the best, healthiest we can be, to do what God called us to do.
Awesome. One of the things that I'm struggling with is the feeling of deprivation. When I stick with a guardrail, I feel sometimes like, I really just feel deprived. So, what do you do when you feel deprived?
Well, I would go back to the reason why you feel deprived,
Yeah.
is that you really are hungry, and that the
Yeah.
guardrail that you put in place isn't fully nourishing your body. And can you switch out something that's more nutrient rich, something that's more protein packed, that's going to stick with you longer?
Okay.
Or are you feeling deprived because you feel there's a feeling of not being able to have what you want, that somebody's taking something away from you?
Mm,
And maybe unpack that a little further to see, okay,
mm,
I'm making this choice. Nobody's making this choice for me.
mhm,
But why am I making the choice? Am I making it to please somebody else, or am I making it to please myself and to please God?
mhm, mhm.
And if you can
Yeah.
unpack that a little bit more, you can start to find out why you're feeling that way.
Yeah. So when you started going through your own challenges with food or eating,
Mhm.
what was a point that you struggled with? Was there a point that was like, okay, this just keeps coming up again and again?
Well, for me, it was a college journey, and it was a scholarship, and it was trying to be at this playing weight that I struggled to
Ah,
achieve. But at the very heart of it, when I peeled back all the layers, it was fear. It was fear of losing my
mm,
scholarship because I wouldn't meet the requirement,
right,
and that fear that I wouldn't be able to finish college, and the fear that I would
right.
disappoint all kinds of people. And so,
Yeah.
at the heart of all of it was fear.
Oh,
And so, when you pack that all away and you go, that fear was real, but
right.
in reality, nobody ever said that my scholarship was in jeopardy because of a weight.
Yeah.
Satan told me that,
Right.
but the coach never told me that. But
Right.
in my heart, that just reaction
That's
every
what you
time was you
believed.
just start to play it all out. But if this happens, then this
Mhm,
happens, then this happens, then this happens.
mm,
And to be honest, I never talked with my coach about my
yeah.
disordered eating. I never talked with my
Sure.
parents about my disordered eating.
Sure.
So nobody ever
Sure.
gave me a different perspective. It just became
Right.
my own, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
talk to people, tell people, share
Bringing
people. It's important.
Bringing truth into the
Yes.
lies. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So I
Yep.
like to think of truth coming into a lie as you're in a dark room and you can't see. And so you're going slowly and you're feeling your way because you don't
Mhm.
know what's there. Then somebody turns the lights on and you realize you're in a huge gymnasium. There's nothing there. You can just
Right.
go running right across.
Right.
Even if the lights go back off, it's okay. You know you're safe. It's all right. And the truth of Christ just brings that to our lives in so
Yes.
many ways. Thank you for helping women to comprehend the truth of Christ when it comes to their eating and bodies.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah, good. Do you have a
Right.
favorite theme verse or a verse that you just always love to think about?
No, there's a variety of
So
them.
many.
When you start to think, that I was fearfully and wonderfully made, that's the one that comes back to
Yes.
me over and over again. I
Yeah,
was fearfully and wonderfully made. My mother used to say that all the time when I would compare myself to somebody else, and
right.
you forget
Oh,
that, and you have
mhm.
to repeat that over and over and over for a
Uh,
purpose. And
that's
I'm
great.
trying to live out that purpose now. So,
Oh, that's so
yeah,
great. Well, you guys
yeah,
want to check out Tanya's book is The Mindful Me Journey. It's a 40-day guided journal toward a healthier relationship with food and exercise. Also, she is one of our featured speakers over at womenspeakers.com. If you go to womenspeakers.com and click on Ohio, she's going to show right up there for you.
yeah.
Her own website is www.lit, which stands for Live in Truth. So it's www.lit wellnesssolutions.com. litwellnesssolutions.com.
Great.
Tanya, thank you so much for joining
Thank
us today.
you.
And thanks you guys for being here. I'd love to have you with us live. And those of you who watch the archives and share them around, thanks so much for that. Hope that you will follow up with Tanya's book and with her. And we'll see you around next time. Bye bye.
Great.